Well, folks, we're getting closer and closer to the finals, but once again, it's another exciting edition of the CFT for College Football 25. I am that other guy alongside my broadcast partner, Brownsville Gamer.
And again, this is another edition of the modern CFT 25. This time it is Ole Miss going up against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. These are top 20 teams on paper, but according to this tournament, both teams are under 500 with no chance of going to the playoffs, so it's all about pride at this point.
I don't know about pride, but, for one team, maybe, but I don't know about the other.
Well, at least for Notre Dame, they're trying to end their tournament hopes with at least a 3-3 record. The profile player we're looking at is the halfback number 4, Love. We're going to pay attention to him throughout the game, as right now number 4 is going to try to take it up the middle, and it's going to make it for about 8, maybe 9 yards. So that makes it 2nd and 1 at the 41.
As Notre Dame continues to drive the ball down the field, you've got to.
And number 4 is gone, and that's going to be a very quick Fighting Irish touchdown to start off the game. And they're not wasting any time.
Well, we already know what this game is going to be. Anyway.
Already, there's a flag on the play. Is that roughing the kicker?
Yep.
And already with a flag, and we couldn't even get through the first 30 seconds of the game without Ole Miss making a penalty. Speaking of Ole Miss, they have lost 4 straight games.
Basically every game they had.
And got a bye, which at least gets them the only one win, although it wasn't earned. Today, they're trying to see if they can finally win it at home in front of their live home audience.
Well, they may have something.
And 21, with the spin, was able to make some great yardage, 30 yards by Parrish, number 21, Parrish Jr. They're going to take it to the 45-yard line.
And Ole Miss with their first drive of the game. I'm sorry, folks, if I don't seem too optimistic. I mean, this team has been very disappointing throughout this entire tournament, and I have no idea how and why they continue to be in the situation. This is a team that unfortunately has been met with such much expectations, and they have not met not either one of them. And some games they're lost by damn near 50 points. At this point, it's safe to say that Ole Miss is probably one of the, if not the biggest bust in this entire tournament's history.
I mean, if you take a look at where Ole Miss is at in the tournament, they had some tough opponents, right? They lost to Oregon State 38-25. They lost to Troy. I mean, they got destroyed by Troy. 66-14.
Troy.
Lost.
Troy. And Troy has made the tournament, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
I mean, in terms of other teams, they lost to Washington 24-14, lost to Alabama.
Again, speaking of that game, they should have never lost that game. Oh my goodness, about to give them. They should have never lost that game. That game was just poor time management.
And right now, Notre Dame is trying to control this first quarter. They are already at the 50-yard line, but they're going to go back about 3 yards. That's going to make it 2nd and 13 at the 47. I mean, the quarterback, number 13, is really trusting the running game, but can't help it but to throw it in the air when necessary, and that's going to give the Fighting Irish another first down.
They're going to keep the chains moving. They are in hurry-up mode, and they are trying to get the ball off. I mean, I don't know why they're rushing for him.
I mean, look, that's their type of game. Like, they want to keep the defense on their toes. And right now, the defense does not have an answer, as we just saw another Fighting Irish touchdown. It's already 14, well, soon to be 14-0, assuming they get the extra point. But right now, it's 13-0, and number 98 is ready to make that chip shot through the upright.
Oh my goodness, they hit the kicker
But
again.
we see another roughing the kicker penalty. I mean, it doesn't gain yardage, obviously. It's for an extra point, but we're talking about discipline here, right? The players need to be far more disciplined if they're going to have any chance of being successful.
I mean, have they been disciplined this entire tournament?
I mean, it shows because they're giving up points quite easily, and right now number 21 has the ball, going to take it for about 4 yards, puts them now in 2nd and 6th position. At the 29, 21's going to keep going, gets the first down, can get a lot more, but doesn't decide to go for the spin this time, and will end at the 49-yard line.
I mean, at least they're in midfield. Let's see if they can do something with it.
Well, they'll try to go for an extra few yards. That's going to be about 3 to 4 yards, making it 2nd and 6 at the 48. And Dart looked like he's going to try to give it back to number 21. Will do so, but number 99 from Notre Dame had an answer for that. Stopped it right in its tracks, making it 3rd and 5.
Let's see. They're finally going to see what Dart can actually throw the ball, and he
Does not, because that's going to be a pick by number 0. Could be a possible pick 6. Let's see.
Dart
Does he
gets-
stop it? No.
Oh, Dart got to it.
I mean, it's weird when the quarterback has to play defense, but this is where we are. And right now, they have excellent field position at the 13. Going to get it to the running back, number 4, and number 4 doesn't go anywhere.
I mean, Ole Miss is a lot of things. I'll give the quarterback credit. Dart got to them. That he was the only thing that's stopping them, from getting another touchdown.
And that's going to be a great tackle by Nolan, 3rd so far.
What do you think about that? That previous play on possession?
I mean, that right there is just
my
effective, just knowing where you are in the field and taking advantage of it. But right there looks like another touchdown, assuming that the penalty, no, it's actually going to be against Notre Dame, and that's going to be a huge holding call that puts them now at 3rd and 26. They're shuffling. Can they get it? No, and that's going to be a big stop by the Rebels. And now, forcing a field goal, they're going to try to do it near the 35, and it's going to make it in for 3 points. It's now 17-0.
I mean, I'll give Ole Miss credit. At least they was able to finally hold their opponents to at least 3 points of that.
Yeah, but they're down by 17. They gave away 17 points, and we're not even done with the first quarter.
I mean, discipline, right?
I mean...
Oh, lack thereof?
I mean, we're going to be saying I mean a lot because...
Wait.
What we think is a reception. That just became a second pick by number 0, and it looks like it's deja vu all over again. Notre Dame is going to hold on to the ball.
He does one thing good and 5 things bad.
And right now, number 4 is going to hold on to it. It's going to get about maybe 2, not even, just a yard. And with about 5 seconds to go to end the first quarter, it looks once again that Ole Miss is just underperforming, but forces the ball to go out, making it 3rd and 9. Final play of the quarter. And number 13 is looking and couldn't do anything with it, throws it away, and that ends the first quarter.
I got to give Ole Miss credit. Their defense has been keeping them from not getting blown out.
I mean, I don't know about that. When we see another field goal for 3, that's going to make it 20-0. We are probably witnessing a possible blowout.
Anyway.
I feel like that's the title of today's show. I mean.
What else can we say? This team has just been utterly just embarrassing to watch. Just basic fundamentals. The darts just darting the ball all over the place. The O-line can't block.
And number 24 is going to try to make it to the 20 and get there. But once again, what's up with the offense and their discipline? We don't know. Number 0 is going to try to get it to at least 8 yards. No, it's going to be about 7 in this case, making it 2nd and 3rd at the 27.
Well, let's see what they do here.
Right now, gets it back to number 21. Can't even go for 3 yards. Has to settle for a yard. And now they're in a crucial 3rd down situation, 3rd and 2 at the 28. I think they're going to trust Parrish Jr. again with it. Dart trying to get a man in motion. Nope. Instead, gets it to 21. Does enough. Gets the first down. And that's going to be probably an extra 5, putting them at the 34.
As they're going to keep the ball on the ground, and he's got to follow his blocks.
I mean, why is he penetrating through the line as if that's going to make much of a difference? I mean, I know it's virtual, but that doesn't make any sense.
Play action. Let's see what they're going to do here.
And going deep, and it's not going to be catchable. That's going to be out of bounds. So now it's 3rd and 7 at the 38. I imagine they're going to try to go for a mid-range pass, but knowing Dart, he loves to throw it deep.
I mean, they're down 20-0. You got to throw it deep at this point.
But it's the second quarter. I mean, they can
get down
pace
20-0.
And that's just a waste of a throw. That's not going to make any much of a difference. And now the ball goes back to Notre Dame.
I don't have a lot of words to describe.
Number 6 is going to take it there. And oof.
That punt really didn't go anywhere.
Now at the 36, the defense are going to try to see if they can hold them the same way they did in the last drive. But it's not going to happen with a reception by number 13, Riley Leonard.
How do you cover the receiver and you still got behind?
And it was directly a man-to-man situation. And look at the pick by number 5. And Ole Miss, the Rebels, are going to get the ball back. I mean, I know that they're trying to work from a 20-point deficit, but this could be one possible way for them to try to dig themselves out of this hole. And look at that. It's a
my
pick by number 15, but there is a flag. The play keeps going, and it looks like it could be a touchdown, but we need to see what the officials are going to say.
No, it's pass interference.
And it's going to be pass interference by Ole Miss, offensive pass interference. So they're going to count it as a touchdown. They'll decline. And that's going to be another 6 points by Notre Dame with the extra point. It is now 27-0.
How do you commit offense?
Bonehead decisions. And look, you hate it when I say this. These are kids, but these kids ain't learning.
No.
These kids ain't learning.
No, the kid's excuse is no.
I don't think it's an excuse. Like I keep saying, it's a reality, but these kids need to grow up because they're in a situation where it's like, what have you learned from the past 5 games? I feel like they're just replicating the same mistakes over and over. Dart's trying to make impossible throws.
He made it there
for barely much. Now
he got it for 8 yards.
Yeah, but they're in a third situation as number 21 doesn't do much with it, and as a result, look where we are. Now that was a timeout. Actually, no, it wasn't a timeout. It was because of an injury. But now, holding on to the ball, they're going to mark it there. And for Notre Dame, it's the same old by Ole Miss in terms of just letting them get away with murder. And number 13, what's crazy about this is that although number 13 has so much time to scan the field, I just don't see enough pressure coming from the Ole Miss defense.
I mean, that's what happens when you have so quote-unquote kids.
Yeah, well, when these kids aren't growing up fast enough, they're going to get blown away by the ability to just, not handle this tough-ass defense. And, offense.
Every game. What's the excuse every other game?
Well, look, if it repeats itself, maybe it's a common trend we have to think about. And number 13 was able to manage to get the ball out from a potential sack. Now it's 2nd and 10 at the 42.
They get the ball off and see what they do here. Nothing.
Number 2 gets it, holds it for about a few yards, making it a 3rd and 1, a 3rd and manageable if they can get the ball out. Will do. Number 88 is going to catch at the tight end, and that's going to be another first down for the Fighting Irish. They're at the red zone with about a minute to go in the first half, and it was a fake up the middle by number 9, and that's another touchdown.
He literally walked in there.
I mean, they just didn't see that coming, and they're going to rock that baby to sleep because right now, Ole Miss, y'all need to just sit down. I said that these kids are kids, and you know what these kids need? They need to take a long-ass nap.
No, they need to go back and finish this semester because football ain't in.
They need to make sure they are registered for next semester's class because I can't see how they're going anywhere at the end of this game.
I'm surprised these people are still in the stadium, but I guess they
Well,
got hope.
look, it's a home game, and it's also virtual, so we can't be too surprised. Hey, EA, take notice. Maybe have a dynamic crowd when they suck. But anyway, that's another...
No, he dropped it.
Could have been a first down, but 21 couldn't hold on to it.
It's like they couldn't hold on to this tournament.
And here we are now at a 2nd and 10 down at the 20.
Dart's going to dart it.
Dart's going to hold on to it, scanning to go deep. But again, not a manageable catch for the wide out to get, so that's a waste of a throw.
The ball boys are getting more catches than the damn receivers.
21's going to try to hold on to it, but nope, number 8 was just too fast and too strong.
Oh, they're being aggressive and going for it.
And look, at this point, they're looking desperate, and they're going for it on 4th and 8. And look at that traffic. I mean, there were 3 defenders right there. Where the hell do you think that ball was going to go? And giving them excellent field position at the 22, a caught ball by Collins as they call for a timeout. Notre Dame down to their final timeout with about less than 10 seconds to go. Gets it to number 88. They're going to call that final timeout. And another chip shot opportunity for the Fighting Irish. They're going to end right here with an easy kick. No blockers to stop it. It's now 37-0.
Every time they try to block it, they get kicked with a rough on the kicker.
Well, they can't even do that right. And with 2 seconds, that's going to be a fair catch by number 4, and that Neal just calls it.
I mean, we're now at halftime. I mean, look, folks, I know I sound very unenthusiastic, but what can you expect? We've been seeing this from this team since the first time they took the field in this tournament, and nothing has changed. And
we mentioned Jeremiah Love at the top of the game right now with 62 yards with 6 rush attempts. He's managing to get about 10 yards per rush.
Look at this.
Already with a touchdown. Look at one of the highlights by number 4. Look at that. Made them look like a bunch of chumps as he takes it to the end zone.
Well, folks, we're now in the second half. It's now 37-0.
Nope, it's not a glitch. It's true.
I mean, this team is just. I have no words. BVG. I have no words. I can't fathom a sentence to justify what we're seeing on the field.
Well, right now we see number 21 trying to make some moves, gets about only a couple of yards.
Or that extra cardio for 5 yards.
3rd and 5 at the 30. Surprised they're going to go for the run.
Oh my!
I figure they'll try to get a mid-range pass. I don't know what's wrong with Ole Miss not trying to go and build those yards for the first down. Try to get 5, try to get 7 yards. No, they're trying to go for these deep passes that's just not connecting.
I know exactly what's wrong with them.
What is wrong with them?
They suck.
Well, thanks for stating the obvious, but I mean...
You're trying to break down all this analysis. It's pretty easy. They suck.
Sure, but the question is why, and that's what we're spending all of our time wondering.
Because they're playing better teams.
Well, look, it's not even they're playing better teams. I mean, Ole Miss, again, they already had to deal with the business from Oregon State. They had to deal with the business from Washington. Well, I mean, Troy has been consistently one of the strongest teams in the tournament. That's why they're within the top 8.
No. Explain that game specifically.
Specifically?
Yes.
That team dominated the defense by Ole Miss. Like, the problem with Ole Miss is that they think that they can try to win on a pass rush, but they don't do anything to get there. And it's allowing the running game by fight. And the Fighting Irish is not even a fast team. The fact that they're able to control it on the ground all this time, it's just shocking.
Right, but what do you think about their O-line not giving the quarterback enough time? What do you think about their safety?
Well, you talking about Ole Miss?
Ole Miss, yes.
I mean, look, because Ole Miss,
they
with the perfect pick, by the way, it's not the defense that's not able to get the ball back for the offense to do something with it. It's the fact that when they do get the ball on the offense, they're confident on the run, but the defense by Notre Dame is just clogging all these running lanes. But on the air, like in the air, there's just no accuracy coming from Dart.
You can say that throughout every single game they had.
Like, think about it. Every time Dart steps back, tries to go for a slot receiver, it's so far out in the corner. Who the hell is he throwing? Here's another example. You expect number 19 to be ahead of it. How if it's that far out?
Okay, but my thing is, they've been doing that this entire tournament. This game doesn't...
And it's like they haven't learned that, you know what? Maybe you need to think about other alternatives in terms of receivers and their options. Like, you're passing it to the same guy far out from the field, and you're expecting him to catch it. That makes no sense to me.
And the punt didn't even go anywhere.
I mean, you're giving Notre Dame... This is how Notre Dame is winning the game. Notre Dame is not winning the game by having to work the field. It's Ole Miss giving them excellent field position, no real defense coming from Ole Miss at all. There's no rush. There's no speed. Damn it, dare I say it. There's no passion coming from the Rebels. Talk about the Rebels without a cause. It's a joke. And another touchdown by the Fighting Irish by number 4.
Did they need to dive in? Was that necessary?
Why the hell not? It's not like they can stop it anyway. And with that, that's another field goal. 3 plays for 43 yards in 30 seconds. That's how fast this drive went. It's like they were on the highway. They were just not caring about speed limits here.
Fam, if this game had dynamic crowds, half the stadium would have been empty by now.
I think we would be the only ones still here if that was true.
Because I'm pretty sure the cheerleaders and the mascots...
No. They'll figure they got a math midterm. They're not going to give a damn about that. They're thinking about finals right now as far as they're concerned.
If you're thinking about finals, you wouldn't have been in the game in the first place.
Well, we're talking about the fans and the cheerleaders and not the players. They're student athletes. They're obligated to fail. But anyway, looking at Dart... finally, after how many attempts? And now let's see if both feet were on the ground by number 86. Now, when we look at it, I think he was in. That was clearly in. So they'll get the first down. I mean, look at it. They attempted that same play like 6 times.
And it was bound to work eventually.
Talk about a game breaker. The other way around. Right now, it's 2nd and 9 at the 37. And Notre Dame just says, yeah, you thought you had hope? No thanks. You're going back to the line of scrimmage.
And that's going to be the end of the third
quarter. And that's it, man. We're a quarter away of saying Ole Miss is a great failure because right now they're trying to avoid an upset. It's 44-0.
Wait. What did you just say?
Yeah, they're trying to avoid another upset.
What do you mean trying? It's happening. At least the crowd's still. See, the crowd's still.
All I know is that a field goal can break that 0 to something, but will it matter? Will it matter enough for them to get back in the game? Not with that stupid throw. So with that, it's 4th and none because they're going to give the ball back to Notre Dame, probably under the 50. And it's going to be around the 40, and that's going to be a fair catch, specifically at the 42.
Hey, as you can see, the crowd is still having hope.
Yeah, because they're probably being paid to be here at this point. Why the hell are you still here? Go outside. It's beautiful out.
They are outside.
Yeah, away from the stadium. Don't even think about this game. Pretend that it never happened. Imagine.
We got
a penalty against Notre Dame, but who gives a damn? They're starting at 1st and 19, and they're going to trim at least 10 yards off of that. So now it's 2nd and 9. Same play, but this time, way too much traffic by all that blue.
They didn't go anywhere.
So they're stuck, and now they're, again, at 3rd and 9 at the 43. This seems like, why not rely on the running back that got them there? The problem is, couldn't go far enough.
Yeah, Ole Miss actually stopped them.
Well, now they're going to get the ball back. They're going to get it around the 20. Actually, no, the 37.
3:41 left to go in the game.
Can they capitalize and put some points on the board? We're looking at a passing play by number 2. Dart's going to dart it nearly into the hands of a defender. And that's 2nd and 10 at the 37.
And they're going to keep it in the air.
They're going to, all streak this? Yeah, let's see how deep this guy can throw and fail. Watch this. Bam! He was ahead of it. He was ahead of it. Yes, I would say that's a crucial first down.
Reverse curses.
Yeah, you're right. Let me say that you suck. All right, Dart. You can't even just walk into a touchdown. You're that terrible. Well, I guess I should have shut up on that one because that was just true. Here we go.
He didn't walk in. His running back did.
Well, let's see. Dart's going to pass it to
It got blocked.
Sky.
That wasn't his fault. It got blocked.
Yeah, well, they're now in a crucial 3rd down. At least they're in field goal range if they can't get it in on 3rd.
Let's hope they do here.
They're at the 6. Dart's on fire right now. Can he get it in for 6? Clock is ticking. And let's see who's available. No! Way too far out. And so now they're going to go for a field goal, and it's going to make it up, and that's good, and that's going to give Ole Miss 3 points. At least they're not going to get shut out at home in their last game of the CFT. But what? What was the point of that? You can't even kick?
I think this broadcast needs more of your
first down once again by number 4.
It needs more of your Fresno State expertise because if anybody deserves ridicule, it's Ole Miss.
I mean, who gives a damn about Fresno State when you're ranked within the top 25 and you play like you can't even play the game right? What's the point?
Brag up the fries?
Man, thank God this game is almost over. We're already down to nearly the last minute of this contest.
And Ole Miss calls a timeout.
And, yeah, because they think they're going to get
what a hit
with time. But that was a big hit by number 2.
Another timeout.
Ole Miss trying
they might have some chance.
They're trying to secure the ball.
It might be a 50-point game breaker if they get the ball back.
I don't know about that.
Look at that.
So here we are. They're going to go for another field goal. This is going to be for about 45, and it's far out, but with a penalty, who cares?
The game is over.
Because you just gave them some extra yards.
You just ended the game.
And the game is going to be basically over because at this point, it's going to be a roughing the catcher type of penalty, roughing the kicker type of penalty.
Another. I think that's encroachment.
I guess that's going to be offsides or at least encroachment. That's going to be a encroachment penalty of 5 yards. And that's it. The clock is done, and Notre Dame is going to take the win, moving them up to 500, ending with a 3-3 record. And for Ole Miss, you end 1-5. Player of the game goes to Jeremiah Love, the halfback number 4 from Notre Dame, for 140 rush yards, 19 attempts with 2 critical touchdowns. Starting from the beginning of the game, it was all white and gold for the Fighting Irish. They did not waste any time reminding people that Ole Miss is a fraud.
Well, folks, you have any more words?
Other than it's time for us to transition from preliminary action to talk about the playoffs. You know what time it is?
It's extra time.
It's extra time. Let's go to work. Now, we are ready to reveal because let's make it very clear, this game, although we have to declare a winner, it does not impact the 8 teams that are going to participate in the national quarterfinals. Here they are, your 8 teams that are going to try to go for a championship. It's the University of Georgia, the University of Oregon, LSU, the University of Missouri, go Mizzou, Penn State, University of Texas, go Longhorns, the Trojans of Troy University, and of course the Huskies of the University of Washington. Those are your 8 teams.
Well, folks, you just heard now, these are the teams that are going to be battling out to see who is going to be becoming the CFT 25 champion. Now, like I said, before we continue with the playoff predictions, we're going to right now talk about Ole Miss.
Yes, because right now we're going to do I guess
eulogy?
This is their funeral, so I guess we should do a eulogy at this point because they're a dying soul in terms of teams in this tournament.
That would think that they had a soul to begin with.
Oof.
I mean, let's just call it for what it is. And I know you're going to get tired of hearing me mention this team.
Here we go.
But let's call a spade a spade.
You know, since it is extra time, I can crack open a beer. Go right ahead.
Let's call it for what it is. As much as I hated Fresno State, as much as I despise that team,
here comes the moment.
I would rather them be them here than Ole Miss.
Wait a minute. First of all, Ole Miss had potential only because on paper they had pieces that can allow them to score quickly and big when they needed to.
At one point, they were the 5th ranked team.
At one point, they were within the top 10.
And now they are ranked 20th.
I'll tell you this much. If it comes down to the why they were ranked low in real life and why they were so terrible in the game, if you had to isolate at least one major reason,
what would it be? It's the F word.
What do you mean? It's not, all right, sure. Okay.
No. Because you had no problem calling any other team the F word.
I mean,
why can't we give it to them?
Sure, we can call. I said it already. I know they're frauds, but I'm not asking if they are. I'm asking why.
They don't know the basic fundamentals of the game. I mean, we've seen it throughout this tournament. Bad officiating. Bad coaching, because that would mean the ref is not on their side. Apologize for that, folks. Bad coaching. Quarterback. Jesus, don't even get me started on Dart. They have no defense. They have no O-line. They have no safeties. They have no corners. The people that they do have in the field can't block, can't defend, can't catch, can't run, can't do nothing. And the little success that they do have, and I'm not going to say they haven't had no success and they haven't tried to win games, it gets negated by bad turnovers, bad behavior because they can't stay in composure and creating stupid penalties like roughing the kicker, like encroachment, like pass interference, things like that cost you yards. And if you get cost yards, you can cost yourself the game. And that's been that way this entire tournament. And unfortunately, I have to say it, Ole Miss didn't deserve to be here. They didn't play like it. A team like Troy, when was the last time you heard anything about Troy in football? They have been the dark horse in this entire tournament. I mean, they pretty much obliterated Ole Miss in their last meeting.
But here's the thing, and this is the part that you kind of brought this up, but I think we should dive a little deeper. There are moments, and there were moments, where Ole Miss had a fighting chance. For example, Washington. Right? Washington was the one game where they were down.
And why did they lose that game?
Why did they?
I mean, bad coaching. Instead of you taking the points and going up by almost a possession, you decide to go for it on 4th down.
Easy field goal opportunity, and they chose not to.
And they chose to be aggressive, and basically that pretty much cost them the game because Washington came back and scored 2 back-to-back touchdowns. You were up by 14, and now you're down by 20. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I keep saying they're kids, because they lack discipline. At the end of the day,
it starts at the top and works its way down.
Of course. I mean, it is always a hierarchy that comes from the coach and all the way down, but the coach is not playing the game. The kids are.
Right, but you're calling the plays. Why did you not take the chip shot?
Sure.
Why did you want to be aggressive? Because you were home.
Yeah.
You could have possibly won that game because then now you're playing to protect the league and not playing from behind. And because you made that aggressive decision, it cost you the game.
Yeah, that's
Take the points.
Yeah.
Take the points.
Especially in a tournament where points matter, right? Like being able to, I'm not saying you should always try to run up the score just cause, but when a tournament is set up where point differentials matter, you try to be as aggressive as possible, but within reason. And I think that's the point. When they become unreasonably sloppy, it's just loss to loss to loss opportunities just repeating itself.
And unfortunately, like I said, they're bad decision making, bad play calling between the quarterback, between the running back, between the safeties, between the corners, between the secondary, between the O line, between the D line. It's just nobody was on the same page. And unfortunately, it's been that way throughout the entire tournament. Excuse me. And that is one of the catalysts of why they are where they are right now. Like you said, their record speaks for itself. You are what your record says you are.
Bill Parcells said it himself, and look where they are now. Not a single win from any team other than a bye. I mean, I'm pretty certain that Ole Miss might be ranked, if not the second worst, probably the worst team of the tournament.
And that's saying a lot.
And I don't think there's a team that is 0-6.
No,
I think everybody
has
the worst
won at least
is
one
at
game.
least one game.
They haven't won,
but one game that wasn't earned. That's the only thing Ole Miss can show for it.
Yeah, but that's nothing to brag about. But we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on from that, and now we're gonna talk about what's really important, and that's the 8 teams that have made the playoffs. Now, before we get into matchups and things like that, I want to get your opinion about the teams that have made it. And what do you have to look forward to going forward as we get into the final round?
First of all, we're going to look at teams in their respective conferences battling as if it's a conference championship. Like take, Texas and Missouri.
So will these
They're
games
be
played all
each
in
other.
neutral?
Well, the way that's going to work in terms of the national quarterfinal is that every game is going to be done at a neutral site. We haven't determined the neutral sites yet, but I will tell you that it's going to be neutral in a way where geographic location should not play too much of a big role. But I mean, look, if you are a team like, let's say, Georgia doesn't give a damn where they're playing. They don't give a damn who they are facing, for that matter. All they care about is taking care of a win and winning big. So neutral sites, that's going to be the expectation for all of our matchups, at least in the quarterfinals and onward. So really, it's all about trying to win when it matters.
And the one thing about this tournament that I will say is that out of the last 2 tournaments that we have done, this is the first tournament in the modern CFT where Power Fives are in, the final round.
I mean, think about it. Like right now, we're in the final 8 teams of the tournament, and all of them are representing a Power 5 conference and probably at the top of their respective conferences. For example, you got Georgia and Texas and LSU. You got, 4 teams actually representing one conference in the national quarterfinals.
Which would be the SEC.
So,
right?
yes, we're talking about Texas, LSU, Georgia, and Missouri. Then you have at least one Big Ten team. You have a couple, at least 2 or Pac-12 teams. And Troy is the only team, I believe, in the American that's competing for a national championship.
If this tournament has taught us anything, is that be careful of the little guy. Because we've seen the last 2 tournaments that a small team or small school or a school that's not known for football can run roughshod and get hot at the right time.
That's Central Florida, that's Indiana. I mean, these are really big programs.
Yes. So how do you feel now that we have Power 5 teams? Do you think the dynamic will shift now to more favorable of those teams compared to the smaller schools who have won the tournament?
I don't know if that really matters, because I think that from the beginning of the tournament, when we started with 21 teams, these were teams that either A, were the top 9 teams based off of AP and, the AFCA rankings. You had teams that had to qualify through their respective conference tournament. You had at least one team that didn't win with an auto bid, didn't win their respective conference, but won it in the runner-up cup. I mean, I think we've given all these teams the greatest opportunities to show that they can face off and win against any team from any conference. And yes, we see a lot of brand names in the national quarterfinals, but you're also seeing one name in particular that you just don't hear when you say national championship, and that's Troy.
And like I said, Troy, I mean, after they basically upset it, one of the favorites to win it all, they have gone on a tear. That game basically opened up their eyes. And
which game you talking about?
The game that they destroyed Ole Miss. I mean, they've turned it around.
Yeah.
That one game basically changed their whole trajectory.
Yes, it did.
And look where they're at now compared to where they were at before the Ole Miss game.
In fact, let's go deeper by actually talking about the national quarterfinal pairings. Here they are, 4 games to look forward to. We have the number 2 seeded Washington. They're going to go up against the 7th seeded team of Penn State. Texas, the 3rd seed of the tournament, they're going to go up against the 6th seeded Missouri. 4th seeded LSU is going to face the 5th seeded Troy. And of course, the top seeded and undefeated team of the tournament, Georgia, they're going to go up against the University of Oregon.
Now, these matchups are going to be something, but that game that I'm looking forward to the most will probably be Georgia and Oregon. That's probably going to be the game that's really going to decide who's going to make it to the finals. But I still want to stay on Troy because Troy is an interesting case because they're a team that I don't think even you could say you would have thought that they would make it this far. And now that they're here...
I wasn't convinced about Troy until maybe the game after Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. Because by the time that we get to like round 5, Troy's already up with 3 wins. Or about to approach 3 wins.
And that's the thing, is that they are a team that no one can expect to really do anything. And honestly, they're playing with house money. They have nothing to lose.
They really have nothing to lose. And the funny part is, they're literally in the middle of the bracket. And I don't know about you, but if you think this tournament, starting with the quarterfinals, is going to be straight chalk, I don't necessarily think so. And with that, let's talk about each of these games and who we're looking at. Let's first start with the 2nd versus 7th seed, Washington versus Penn State. Who you got?
Washington, Penn State. I mean, Washington hasn't really impressed me that much, but if I had to be a better man, I think I'm going to go with Penn State. I mean, Penn State, they've shown that they want to be here, and again, another team playing with house money. You know, I'm going to go with Penn State with that game.
Me, it's going to be Washington. I think Washington, although their defense has been a bit wonky, giving a lot of points away in some pretty crucial games of the tournament, Washington just figures out ways to win. Yeah. And I love a team that can just like A-team their way out of a bad situation. That's Washington in a nutshell. They have figured out how to win when it matters, and they've done it consistently enough to be the team that's just one level below Georgia. So, no, I'm going chalk on this one. I'm picking Washington over Penn State.
Okay, so the next game we have is going to be Texas versus Missouri. Now, this game, I don't know. If you're a betting man, obviously you're going to go with the heavy favorite Texas, but don't be surprised if Missouri gives them a fight.
Nope, I picked Texas. First of all,
all right.
Come on. I am actually shocked that Texas is a 3rd seed. Why? I said it from the beginning because I think Texas is going to win the tournament.
Right, but
they should have been a 2nd seed. I don't think Washington should have been the 2nd seed.
Right, but again, if this tournament has taught us anything, is that be careful of the little schools.
Yeah, but not when you have Quinn errors, not when you have Archie errors. Not when you have Archie Manning, not when you have one of the most powerful offensive lines of the tournament. And the defense, I mean, they have, given up less than 40 points for the entire tournament?
Right.
Or under 50?
And that's hella impressive. But again,
and they're a 3rd seed?
Hey, man, I don't make the rules. At the end of the day, hey, they made it. That's all that matters. And like you said, if you feel like they're going to win the whole tournament, doesn't matter what position they're in?
Well, look, I'm picking Texas over Missouri. I think Missouri has done a fine job making it into the tournament. To be honest, it's not really as close as you think. I'm going with Texas because I just think that they've had the resume from the time they made it in round 1 all the way to the quarterfinals. I mean, at one point, Texas was the top seeded team in the tournament for at least 2 rounds. So, I don't know. I'm just going with what I've seen so far with the tournament, and I think Texas is going to be a team that should stop Missouri, the Tigers, very easily. Speaking of the Tigers, let's talk about 4th versus 5th seed, LSU versus Troy.
You know who I got.
You're picking LSU.
No, I'm going with Troy.
You're that sold that they can beat an LSU Tigers team. I mean,
Did you-
LSU is hella overrated in this
Did
tournament,
you
mind you.
see what they did to Ole Miss? They
And you yourself
they
said that Ole
burned-
Miss was trash. So why would we use that as like the
Oh,
example
they
to show how
burned-
superior they
They
are?
burnt the city to the ground, took all the women and children, and burnt the city
jeez.
down to its foundation.
Oh, come on. I think you need to stay off the narratives. Look,
Ne-
all I'm saying is,
BVG, did they not win by 50 points?
sure, against a shitty ass Ole Miss team. That's something not to brag too much about.
A shitty ranked.
Yeah,
Let's not forget that. A ranked
yeah.
Ole Miss team.
And did they lose games?
Who?
I'm just saying, did they lose?
Detroit?
I mean, I'm talking about Troy.
Yes. I'm not saying they didn't
They're
lose.
4-2. I mean, if they're that damn
Yeah.
good, they should have been 5-1.
Okay, but they're in the tournament. Ole Miss is not. That's all that matters. The point
Well,
is,
we're not talking about Ole Miss anymore. You keep bringing up
No,
Ole
what I'm
Miss
saying
like they're
is
relevant.
Okay, what I'm saying is they're in the they're in the playoffs. Ole Miss is not, so they're actually good enough.
But that's not okay. Yes, under your logic, it is good enough. But again, Ole Miss is not the tournament in terms of all the other teams that they faced. I mean, I'm about to try to pull up their record right now, but just looking at the resume, and again, I'm not trying to snipe Troy as a team that doesn't belong here. They've proven
sound
that
like to
they
me.
have. But look, here's their wins. I mean, first off, you lost to Michigan. That's
It's Michigan. Like, I'm not.
a ranked team.
Yes.
Again, you like to keep saying, but they're ranked. Yes, Michigan was ranked, and they lost.
Okay, and in that particular time, did you really think Troy at that particular
And then,
point?
not only did they beat Ole Miss, which you keep ranking as like, this is the game that proves they belong here, although we're talking about round 2 of the tournament, the more crucial, important wins. And again, I'm so sorry. I keep saying they lost to Michigan. They actually beat Michigan, but they lost to Texas in the first round.
Yeah,
They
the
lost to
that you
Texas,
said is gonna win the whole
and they
thing.
lost to Washington. They beat Ole Miss. They beat Miami. They beat Michigan, and then they beat Liberty. I mean, the majority of the wins that Troy has had has been mid-majors to like
Wow, whoa,
borderline power ranked teams that weren't really all that good in their respective conference. I mean, Michigan this year played like shit. So for us to hype it up as like a super quality win, I think it's just straight hyperbole. In terms of you can't beat Washington and you can't beat Texas, but you can beat the University of Miami of Ohio.
See, you didn't say that part. You just said Miami. I'm thinking they beat the Hurricanes.
No, they beat whatever the hell they are in Miami. The point is that I'm not taking away the fact that we're looking at a Troy team that's 4-2. I'm not taking that away. A win is a win. But if we're comparing wins and all you can say is, yeah, they beat fucking Ole Miss, I'm going to say, yeah, that's true. And they fucking lost to Liberty. And they also beat Liberty. And they also beat Miami of Ohio.
Right. At the end of the
Okay.
day, I have a winning record, and that qualifies means for the playoffs. That's
Barely, because the cutoff was 4.
I got in. That's all that matters.
Yes, and you can say it's a brand new tournament, but
Yes.
not with new teams. You got to think about
And I can get revenge now because I can play those same 2 teams that beat me out that I lost.
right
to.
quality teams, because the team you're not hitting is Liberty. You're not hitting a Miami of Ohio anymore.
No.
Your first round is LSU.
Okay, and if this tournament has shown me anything, that be careful of the smaller schools. Because
Sure.
they're the ones that can make the most noise.
Right, but
because
not-
they have nothing to play for.
Right, but not everything is a March Madness. I'm going to be very upfront with you. I think the quarterfinals is going to be straight chalk. I think that
So you think all the teams that they're supposed to win is going to win?
I
the
think
teams that's supposed to-
LSU should not have too much of an issue. I mean, in terms of their wins, they beat Michigan, they beat UNLV, they beat Oregon State, they even defeated Ohio State.
But what I'm saying to you,
They
is,
beat at one point, the second best team in the country.
Okay, but what I'm saying to you is
That's a much more impressive resume than Troy.
we're not
Easily.
I am not saying that those teams don't have better records.
Okay.
I'm going by the team that is the dark or the dangerous team because they have. nothing to
Okay,
play
then
for.
then make it make sense. What makes a team at this point dangerous?
A team that can beat anybody on every getting.
Okay, let's use your logic then. They beat 3 straight teams. 3 straight. LSU defeated Michigan, Oregon State, and Ohio State. All teams, for the exception of Oregon State, that are in the top 25, and they beat them in 3 straight back-to-back-to-back wins, excluding round 4, which was the bye. I mean,
okay, I'm
just saying.
I'm just making an argument why Troy deserved to be. That's it.
Your only argument is because they just defeated good teams. Of course they are. You're going up against teams that have won conference tournaments. Of course they're supposed to do that. What, I'm supposed to give them a round of applause because they did their job?
Because we didn't expect a team like Troy to be here.
No.
If you look at that list,
if
you look at that list,
I 100% disagree with you. You know why? I know why. You know why? It's because you won a damn conference tournament. To even qualify to the CFT, you had to win a conference tournament, which on average requires 3 to 4 rounds before you can get to 6 rounds of the regular tournament. And they won it all. So I'm not buying this argument. And again, we're talking about the American League. Sure, the American Athletic League is not the Pac-12. It's not the SEC. But they won 3 to 4 straight games to make it to the tournament. And their resume in terms of teams that they had to face, like you said, wasn't, a cakewalk. I will give Troy the fact that they did what they have to do to get here. Here are your flowers. Here's your round of applause. Now bow out gracefully so that the real teams can actually do their jobs. And that's exactly what's going to happen to LSU. And I'm going to end with this. They are not playing at home. Okay. Troy is not playing at home.
No
LSU
playing.
Exactly. It is a mutual field. So I'm going to put it right on the line. I bet you $1 that LSU will win the game, and they'll probably win by at least 10 points or more.
Okay. I'll take you up on that bet.
I don't think that Troy is that great as you think, but
all it takes is one mistake. All it takes is, and you smell blood in the water, all it takes is one turnover. All it takes is one pick. All it takes is one fumble. All it takes is one play to turn things around. And if anybody can do that, I think it's Troy. I think you're disrespecting Troy. I really think you're disrespecting him. I feel like you think
you can call it disrespect. I call it reality check. I think there's a reality check that teams have to understand.
And the reality is that I agree with you on a lot of your points. What I don't agree with you is the disrespect. And I feel like
You're not their coach. Who cares?
They deserve to be here.
What dog do you have in the fight?
Here.
Are you coaching? Troy? Are you part of the Troy Booster Club? Like, what are you to care? What are you to care?
They're going to show you.
Why are you so invested?
Because I can't wait to see you look in your face when they defeat LSU.
I'll give you this much. They're not going to beat LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were to beat LSU, they're not winning the championship. Let it go. It's nice that everyone wants to have a little Rudy moment. Everyone wants to have
I'm on the Troy hype train.
Yes,
Troy
you are.
All.
The same hype man that was talking a lot about Ole Miss until they sucked, and the same way about fucking Fresno State when they thought they had a chance because they looked good in game 1 of the old CFT. We heard it all before. We love your energy, but I don't know why you're so invested to a team that, again, I'm proud that they made it, but this is the part when they bow out.
I really think you're underestimating this team.
Maybe I am.
And they're going to show you.
Maybe
they're going
I
to show
am.
you. Because if they can defeat LSU, they can win it all.
And I don't think it's going to happen. Let's talk about the last game here. Come on, can we at least agree this is hella chalk? It's the 1-8 game. It's Georgia versus Oregon. Please do not tell me you're picking Oregon.
I'm picking Oregon. This could be the game that decides who goes to the championship.
No, it's not. No, it is not. I think this is a very basic...
Why? Because it's the big bag boogeyman known as Georgia?
Because they've won 6 straight games.
And you can lose one and be done.
It's not going to be Georgia. It's not. Georgia has arguably the best quarterback in the tournament. They have the best O-line in the tournament. They have held teams to the lowest amount of points scored than any team in the tournament. I cannot... Again, how do you have that recipe and be like, yeah, and they're going to get knocked out in the first round? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
We've seen teams that we thought was going to be a cakewalk.
Name it.
I was saying it, but...
Name it. Name a tournament where that happened.
Didn't LSU lose the last tournament? No, they lost in 14.
In what round? And what was their ranking?
The semifinals.
Yes, thank you. They first of all, to be fair, the old version of the CFT only advanced the top 4 teams. So it's not like there was a quarterfinal. But I will say that LSU then is totally different than LSU now, and even LSU had a fighting chance to win a title.
But they lost. They lost to UCF.
Yeah, they gave it up because for some particular reason, Central Florida woke the fuck up. And the funny part is that some people would say, okay, that's a fluke. UCF shouldn't have won that game in any other instance.
UCF went to back-to-back.
That's where I was getting at.
Well, but I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish that.
Yeah,
point.
go for it.
That proves my point.
What do you mean?
We just said UCF went to back-to-back championships.
Troy didn't.
No, you're right, but it proves my point that small or mid-major teams have a chance. Because if UCF can go to back-to-back championship games, why can't Troy make it to the finals?
Because Troy is not UCF.
I really don't like this disrespect, but Troy gonna show you.
Look, let the Trojans of Troy burn down the Coliseum that is the CFT. But I honestly think if you have to ask me my picks, once again, I think it's Washington over Penn State, it's Texas over Missouri, it's LSU versus Troy, and it's Georgia over Oregon. Your picks.
I'm going to go with Penn State. I'm going to go with Texas. I'm going to go with Troy. Go Trojans. And I'm going to go with Oregon.
When he meant the Trojans, he meant USC. But because they're not here, he placates them and uses Troy instead. I mean, so I guess this is a stupid question to ask. Your
Troy. I don't have to finish your sentence. It's Troy. Well, folks,
hold on, we're not done. There's one more final question.
So the last question was the final question?
Yeah, until you made that statement.
You asked me a question, I answered it.
Here's the real final question, and this is a serious one.
All right.
Who has a lot to prove going into the playoffs?
You know my answer.
Seriously, Troy. Honestly,
all right, you want me to be serious?
Yeah. What team do you think has the most to prove? Of the 8 teams still in.
I'm gonna give you a mock answer and a real answer.
All right, give us a mocking.
So the mock answer would be, I'm trying to be serious, and I don't want to start laughing. The mock answer is, I think the reason why I say Troy, because Troy is going to prove that, hey, we fucking matter too.
Okay.
And on top of that, they're gonna show that the mid majors won this tournament.
We'll see about that. But what's the real answer? You said the mock. What's the real?
Troy, duh. No, I'm just playing. I'm playing. We're about to get out of here, folks. But he's all right. I'm gonna be serious. If I had to choose out of the teams
who has
outside
the
of
most
Troy,
to prove?
To prove?
Yeah, that's
to
the
win
question.
it all, just to prove to be.
No, like all these teams has an argument as to why they should be a national champion. But of all of the 8, which one has like the most that they have to prove?
Texas.
I would say, honestly,
because if you have all that high-end talent and you can't win, then what's the point?
I think it's a split. I think Texas is one of them, but I also think Missouri may have the most to prove.
So let me get this.
Hear me out. You know why? Because they're the worst SEC team that's in the tournament.
You're about to glaze them.
And I think that Oregon, similar to Troy, happy to be here, but Georgia's gonna just eat their lunch. But Missouri, they play in a very competitive conference, and I believe in the same division as Texas. So, and not to mention, they've known each other from the Big 12. So there's a lot of history of Missouri being under the shadows of the big major Big 12 programs and now the SEC, and now they've made it as an SEC team, and they're still the little brother of all the other teams that are competing. I imagine they're fighting for that same limelight, like an LSU, like a Georgia, like a Texas. I mean, I feel like they have the most to prove.
Well, folks, we're going to find out because this tournament is really getting into its final stretches. But like I said, I have my picks. BVG has his picks, and we'll be getting to those tournaments and the finals.
And I hope you have your picks, too. Don't be afraid to just Put it in the chat. Who do you think is going to be the real dark horse?
Yes.
Who do you think is going to be the real game player of the tournament? Who do you think is going to win it all? We're going to find out very soon. Once again, it's Washington versus Penn State, Texas versus Missouri, LSU versus Troy, and Georgia versus Oregon. Those are our 4 teams in the national quarterfinals, and we're going to kick that off very soon. So until then,
I am that other guy alongside Brownsville Gamer. Thank you for staying with us for another edition of the CFT for College Football 45. We'll see you back again here for the tournament finals pretty soon. But for all of us here, I am that other guy alongside Brownsville Gamer.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And as always, if you enjoyed the content, give us a like. Even better, if you really enjoy it and you want to watch more, subscribe soon. Take care, everyone.
Have a good night.